Hi, today I'm going to talk with you about common fears about couples therapy and what to do about them. Hi, I'm Emma Coble. I'm a Colorado based therapist treating feminist, perfectionistic women and also couples who are caught in a cycle that feels impossible to break. So first I want to tell you that if you are experiencing fear about couples therapy, or maybe your partner is experiencing fear about couples therapy, this is really common. And I have met some couples who are not as afraid of couples therapy, but many couples are before they get started. And so it totally makes sense. You're doing something new, you're going into a space that is vulnerable. There is the potential for things to be said that you're not sure what's going to be said. You don't know how things are going to look on the other side of this. So if you are experiencing fear, it makes sense. But I hope that today I can kind of talk a little bit about some of these fears and reassure you a little bit about them if you're experiencing some fear. So, you might also be experiencing like hope is one thing I also want to say, is that sometimes excitement and fear can be like two sides of the same coin. So like this hope of like maybe things could be better if we do this, but also that fear of like a letdown. Like if we do this and it doesn't work, what's that going to mean for our relationship? Totally makes sense. So the first fear I want to talk about is this fear that the therapist is going to take sides. And I think that this comes from a really old school kind of conception of couples therapy where, in very old types of couples therapy where the therapist would kind of sit back and, accuse maybe one person of not being XYZ enough in the relationship. But a skilled couples therapist is not someone who is going to be blaming another person or siding with them and is going to be against the other person. The good skilled couples therapist they are a therapist for the relationship, not for any one person in the relationship. So the job of a couples therapist is not to shame or blame anyone or to take sides. It is to help the relationship be as good and healthy as it can be. And what that involves is compassionately understanding and joining with each person inside the couple. So, find a couples therapist that fits that bill and who you feel like does that for you. If you're seeing a couples therapist and you're not feeling that, that's something to address in the sessions with them, or maybe to eventually find another couples therapist. So the next thing is like feeling judged or shamed. And this kind of goes along with the first one. You might be worried that the therapist themselves is going to judge or shame you, or that your partner is going to like judge or shame you in the room. And if you're worried about the latter, that my partner is going to judge or shame me for sharing things, the therapist, if they're a skilled therapist, will also create a safe space for you where it's not just going to be a venting and attack kind of session, but it's going to be a productive space for people to get down to what's at the root and what's underneath the things that they might be saying that are more surface level. What's the fight really about that, you left the refrigerator door open again? What are the needs that are not being met that are underneath that? Or the insecurities that are here, whatever it is. And so the therapist will create a space where it's not just kind of a fighting free-for-all. And also a skilled therapist is not going to be judging or shaming or blaming. I am here as a therapist to tell you that, first of all, I've seen a lot of things in therapy, but I also relate to many of the things I have seen as a therapist in my couple sessions and in my individual sessions. We as therapists are not perfect ourselves. We struggle with the exact same things you're struggling with. So your therapist is not sitting there trying to shame or judge you if they're a good therapist. They're trying to help you. So another one is a fear that therapy is going to make things worse. So maybe there's a fear that, if we say this stuff out loud, the relationship is going to get harder, or it's going to be harder to stay in the relationship. And this is understandable, but the truth of the matter is that whatever issues are there, they don't go away by not addressing them or not talking about them. They're there, but they're causing all this tension and pain kind of under the surface. And oftentimes the trying to push it away, the trying not to address it actually makes things worse. So addressing it actually sets the stage for greater healing, whatever that looks like. Another thing people sometimes get afraid of is this fear of being vulnerable. And this kind of goes back to the fear of being like shamed or judged. It's scary to be vulnerable. It's really scary to bear it all and share our deepest, and with our partners, these come up, like our deepest insecurities, our deepest fears come up, and it's a really scary thing. So if you are afraid of this, it's valid. It totally makes sense to be afraid of this. And our partners are the places that we're challenged to do this, and when we do it, it can lead to such a closeness and such a deeper connection and such interpersonal healing as well. I have seen people heal inside a couple, and that allows them to heal so much individually as well. So, you know, knowing that your vulnerability is serving a purpose, and it's also, you're doing it in a safe space with a therapist who's here to help protect you. Another one is a fear that therapy is going to be like too expensive or time consuming. And yes, therapy is an investment. It's an investment in your relationship. It is an investment in yourself. And where we put our attention and energy and money, like those things tend to grow and heal and get better. And I would encourage you to think about what are the costs to not addressing this? What are the costs to not fixing this? And is it worth it to be in a situation where, you know, you're feeling resentful, you're hating your life, or you're hating your partner, and to start to sort of think about that. And another thing is honestly a fear of letting go of old patterns. And this can be kind of scary because it's, again, like you've been so used to this, you're going into an unknown realm. But I would hope and encourage you to think about like the ways that those like new patterns could be even better for you. And it's important to grieve old patterns sometimes, but maybe you could be creating something that feels even better. And then along with that, like this fear that therapy is only going to focus on negative things. A good skilled therapist is going to, again, help you focus on connection, help you focus on the positive things in your relationship, as well as addressing some of the things that aren't working. So if you are feeling nervous, it's totally normal to do so, to feel nervous. And this is something you can also address in therapy, and you can even share with your partner as a way of feeling close. Chances are they might be feeling nervous as well. If you do have any questions or you want to schedule a consultation, if you live in Colorado, please feel free to reach out, and best of luck.